Well, this is a song that I heard Marilyn sing maybe a month ago at this point that I really enjoyed. And I've heard Bill Cliff sing it a few times too. Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, my heart is calling you. Or is it but an echo of your love calling me, calling me? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, the birds sing soft and true. Is it that your lovely face is all lovely face they see in every tree, every tree? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, the rose is glowing pink. Or is it a reflection of your smile, warm and sweet, warm and sweet? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, the lambs are calling you. Is it that your lovely name is all they can speak? They can speak. Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, my heart it beats for you. Or is it but the drumming of your name ceaselessly, ceaselessly? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, I long for you. Is it that I cannot but for you are near to me, near to me? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, my heart is broken too. Or is it your love breaking from its shell to be free, to be free? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, tears flow from my eyes. Or are they from your ocean bed, a drop drowning me, drowning me? Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, grant that I love you more and still yet more and more, endlessly, endlessly. Oh, Baba, Meher Baba, this song I give to you. For you are singer, you are song, and there is none of me, none of me, none of me. Okay, Baba.
So beautiful, Jeremy.
So sweet.
Such
Hey,
love.
Baba.
Yeah. So
Isn't
any
that a
song,
song Monty sang? Is that what you
Yeah,
played? Oh, so sweet.
yeah.
very nice.
Please,
Anybody
oh please,
else?
send it to me.
Hey, I see Dave's hand up. So sorry, Dave.
Dave Lowman.
Yeah, you like to share something?
I, I would.
Go for it.
I would like to share. I'd like to share a song, particularly to Michaela and her husband. And hello. And do you remember this? Oh, baby face, you got the cutest little baby face. No one could ever take your place. Baby face, my poor heart is thumping. You sure start some more, baby face. I'm up in heaven when I'm in your fond embrace. I didn't need a shove to fall in love with your little baby face. J Baba, Michaela.
Thank you, J Baba Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Beautiful. Jai Baba.
Nice to see you, Michaela. Beautiful.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, great to see you.
Yes, good to see you too.
Hi.
Hi, Fereshteh.
How are you, Michaela?
I'm good. I'm good. Finally getting on.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yes, good to see everybody on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Oregon to California and Myrtle Beach and India.
We've known Michaela since she was a baby.
Yeah.
It's so fun to see you here, honey.
Thank you, Betty.
Oh, boy. Boy, you even got Dave to sing. He's been kind of quiet for a while.
Yes.
He needed some inspiration.
Jeff, what do you got?
I don't know. Michelob?
And then it's midnight already. How did that happen?
I know, it's amazing sometimes how it all
Yeah.
time flies. Once we kind of get on a topic, we kind of chew away at it like a dog with a bone. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Michaela, how have you been doing? Any news from your life?
Oh, you know, the fires back here are real bad. So the smoke is real bad. You
Yeah.
know, terrible. Haven't done any hiking because it's all right here in the valley, and yeah, it's just been really bad, but hopefully it'll clear up.
Are you in the East Bay or where?
No, I'm in it's hard to explain. I'm kind of near Nevada.
Uh-huh.
Nevada, it's called the Sierra Nevada. I don't know. You've been you've
Have you
lived
had
up
to
there.
evacuate?
What's that?
Have you had to evacuate?
No, we're fine where we are now. It's just a lot of smoke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Has Baba been
Bishop.
treating you nicely?
What's that?
Has Baba been treating you nicely?
Baba is always gracing me with his love.
She's got a nice husband back there somewhere,
Yeah,
Ron.
I
do.
saw
I
he
think he's
poked
cooking
in
dinner.
over your head there at one point.
Yeah, he popped on. I miss the center though. I can't wait for the Baba Center to open back up.
Yeah, we're all waiting.
We're all waiting.
I mean, I'm here at the gateway, but
Yeah.
waiting for
waiting for Jeff to give the word.
well, there's a board,
Yeah.
but they're right now. One of the things they're waiting for this Labor Day weekend to pass, and then add another 2 weeks, and then see if the coast is clear.
Okay.
But the numbers go way up during these holidays.
Right.
We've been spiking.
Baba's doing his work. Something's happening.
Yeah.
This group, though, this group to come out of it has been beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been. I mean, Ganesh, you know, he's driving in from India. You know, we were able to do this before.
Hey.
Honestly, I don't know what we're gonna do without late night with Jeff. You know, maybe the center should just stay closed.
Yeah.
And we could all move to Jeff's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Ganesh.
Yeah.
Jai
Ganesh,
Baba, good
you got
morning.
any-
Baba.
Good evening to you.
Good morning.
Ganesh, you've got any any thoughts or flashes or questions or?
At this moment, no. I'm just
Okay.
at this moment. It's
Just a listener. Ooh.
I'll read something very quick, very short.
Yeah.
This is from The Path of Love by Baba. So Baba goes, to those whose hearts are pure and simple, true love comes as a gift through the activating grace of a perfect master. And this divine love will perform the supreme miracle of bringing God into the hearts of men. All the same, human love should not be despised, even when it is fraught with limitations. It is bound to break through all these limitations and initiate an aspirant in the eternal life in the truth. There is more. I just thought I'll just read the small section.
Thanks, Prakash.
Yeah.
What I liked there was human love should not be despised because it will lead to the ultimate goal and it will break through the limitations. That's what Baba says.
But not all, but some of the ones we know about, like Shirin or Farhad and Hafiz himself, started out with that human love, and they lifted it to such heights that God had to come.
Actually, Fereshteh, you have something from Hafiz, like Jeff always requests one?
Yes, of course.
That'd be a good start, actually. Yeah.
All right, I'll put away my pink nail polish and open it up. It's a cute one.
Nail polish and Hafiz don't go together.
Yes, they do. Hafiz loves nail polish. Hafiz loves everything except for hypocrisy. All right, let's see. Which ghazal wants to be read tonight? How about 78? Let's open and see what he has to say. All right. Once a Salik learns the way to the tavern, he considers it a futile thought to knock on any other door. The world does not give the crown of roguery to just anyone, except to one who finds a world of pride in donning that hat. Whoever finds their head on the threshold of the tavern learns the secret of the Sufi house of worship through the intoxication by the cup of wine. Here, I think another way to see this is divine love reveals that sometimes the deceit practiced in some Sufi houses of worship. My heart did not ask for mercy from the eyes of the Saki because it knew the methods of that ruthless beloved. My heart did not ask for mercy from the eyes of the Saki because it knew the methods of that ruthless beloved. Do not expect any more obedience from me than from a madman, because the sheikh of our religion considers intellect a sin or a vice. From the cruelty of my rising star in the morning, my eyes shed such tears that the sun noticed and the moon found out. Blessed is the vision that sees the rim of the cup and the face of the Saki as the crescent of the new moon and the roundness of the full moon. Elevated, hi kitty, elevated, hi doggy.
Oh, sorry. I think we're safe. Oh, no.
Elevated is a king who perceives the 9 celestial layers in the sky as a mere sampling of the curve of the arch of the Almighty court. Read that again. Elevated is a king who perceives the 9 celestial layers in the sky as a mere sampling of the curve of the arch of the Almighty court. The discourse of Hafez, or Hadith, the Hadith or discourse of Hafez, and drinking in hiding. What is the need for the Sharia police and the guard? The king himself knows. This one needs work. One who can read the mysteries of the 2 worlds from the markings on the cup will gain real knowledge from the patterns of the dust of the path. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thanks. Fereshteh, beautiful.
You're welcome.
You get to the last couplet.
Read that again.
No, the last couplet. Did you get? I didn't hear Hafiz's name there.
Yeah, that I was a little surprised. Hafiz's name came on number 9, line 9.
Mm-hmm.
The hadith of Hafiz and drinking wine in hiding with, I assume it is with the hadith. حدیث حافظ و ساغر کشیدن پنهان چه جای محتسب و شحنه پادشه داند. So given the discourses of Hafez and the drinking that goes on in hiding, what is the need for the Sharia police and the guard? The king himself knows what we're doing. One who can read the mysteries of the 2 worlds from the markings on the cup will gain real knowledge from the patterns of the dust of the path. So maybe those 2 verses should be reversed. But in the version I'm translating from, Hafez's name comes on the next to the last line,
Mm-hmm.
which is very unusual.
I have something that I wrote up about a real turning point in my life. You might not be able to relate to it quite as deeply as I did, but it's a little scene with Erich outside Mandalay Hall. So I'll read it and see what you think. Okay? Can you hear me all right?
Please. Yes,
Yeah.
please, Jeff. Yeah, go ahead.
There was a time in 1975 before I started working at the Mayor's Center when I was working for Price Branch's construction company, and we were doing house painting, some fine interior jobs over in Briarcliff Acres, just north of the center. In this upscale neighborhood, you had to do quality work. Back then, I would describe myself as a Baba remembrance machine. I would say Baba, Baba, Baba inwardly with each brushstroke, cutting in windows and base boards with Baba's name. I worked for 6 months, and then Price and I went to India. One day we were sitting just outside Mandalay Hall on a bench with Erich, and Price said, "Erich, I work as a house painter, and sometimes hours go by and I haven't thought about Baba. He is the most important being in the world, and time has gone by and I'm not even remembering him. What can I do about that?" Erich replied, "In the beginning, it's important to remember Baba, to say his name, to see the movies, to go where Baba has been, and to read all the Baba literature. But in time, it becomes important to forget yourself. When you forget yourself, then Baba can live through you. You're not aware of it, but he is living through you." He underlined the supreme value of self-forgetfulness. That was a turning point for me in my life with Baba because I had become a bit rigid in remembering him all the time. I had lost the playfulness that had always been a part of me since childhood, the wide range of enthusiasm of my college days, the genuine fun of life. Since that time, I have found that self forgetfulness and remembering Baba make a vital and complementary dynamic in my inner life. Erich would say, get wholeheartedly lost in your activities. And when you come out of that absorption, remember Baba. And he would add, when you remember to remember, remember him. So this is how I translate Erich's words into my life when I get into something such as volleyball or music or gardening. I forget myself. Then Baba can live through me. And after the activity, I remember him. So it's an alternating between remembrance and self-forgetfulness. I found if it's all Baba remembrance, I would become a little stiff and unnatural. And forgetfulness, that can also sometimes be unbalanced. Self-forgetfulness and Baba remembrance for me work beautifully together. That awareness has freed me up to do a lot of things on the center that might not technically be considered Baba. Baba like games, skits, jokes, and movies, because in them we forget ourselves. Like gardening, you can forget yourself among flowers, and hours fly by. It's heavenly. I asked Margaret Crass dancers, most of whom were deeply devoted to Baba, if they remembered him out on the stage in the midst of their performances. This was ballet at its highest level at the time. They all said that they remembered Baba before their performance and afterwards, but then they lost themselves in the dance performance. They all They had all tried at one time to remember Baba during their performance, but they confessed that it took away from the dance. Um, I don't know if were you able to follow that?
Yes, it
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. It's beautiful because this is the same question we all have. Because when Baba says, remember me constantly, and then you are in your middle of your work, and how do you remember and all that? So this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Erich was saying, get totally absorbed in your work. Baba can work through you even though you're not aware of it. But then when you become aware to remember, then use that chance to remember him. When you remember to remember, remember him. That was his line. So anyway, that was a long time ago and was very valuable. Because like I say, I was kind of like a remembrance machine, but just I was kind of bobbing my way through the world of illusion.
That's beautiful, Jeff.
Yeah.
You're very practical there because like Ganesh also said. You can't do that all the time, and it has visibility into our daily life so smoothly, and this alternating aspects of self-forgetfulness and remembrance, and they just go together hand in hand. So beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, because a lot of people kind of say, "Well, I shouldn't be doing this because I'm not remembering Baba," but it may be the very thing that's enlivening them.
Yeah, I would feel guilty when I wouldn't, and I say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to," but I'm doing something else, and then I'd remember him.
Yeah.
But now, thanks for your explanation. Now I know that it's okay.
So
yeah,
so,
Adi had asked Baba. He was studying in college, and he said, "Baba, am I supposed to remember you when I'm studying?" And Baba said, "No, remember me before you study, then study, and then remember me afterwards.
So I will remember to remember to remember to remember Meher Baba.
Right. That's it. Even when you're on a tractor, remember him.
He also made it even one step easier. And he said, in the morning when you get up, declare that whatever today I'm going to be doing, thinking, saying is Baba doing, thinking, saying. And
Oh.
and at the end of the day, also declare that whatever I did say and thought and did, I dedicated to Baba. And that way you're kind of constantly activating and maintaining that provisional ego.
But what if it happens? What if it happens that one of you or one of us become God realized? Are you still able to be connected to Meher Baba?
No, it's the end of you, man.
Oops.
Yeah, that's oh, hey, here, this reminds me of a something you might be interested in.
Oh, before you say that, Jeff, may I say, Baba would say, my yoga is you go, then I can come.
When I come.
So there won't be a you to be connected with you, with Baba. You will become him.
You know, there's a guy named Charlie Gardner, who's a bit of a character. I mean, he lives in Athens, Georgia. I mean, just to give you an idea of what his character is like. But then I'll tell you the story. But he's down in Athens, Georgia, where some of that there's some Ku Klux Klan country, and there was a rally in his area of these Ku Klux Klan, you know, with the Grand Wizards, and they had all their hoods and everything. But then there were the counter protesters, and there was a tremendous tension going on both sides. But at one point, I'm just talking about this. This is the way Charlie Gardner thinks. They had a series of speakers, and people were coming up on the stage and giving talks. And at one point, he just walked up there, and stood there solemnly before the microphone and said, "Would you all bow your heads? Please bow your heads." And in the South, that's kind of natural. You bow your heads, and so they all did, and he said, "We repent, O God most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean." He recited the prayer of repentance at this gathering, and nobody knew whether he was part of the program or not. He finished that and he walked off the stage. So that tells you a little bit about Charlie Gardner. But anyway, one day he got into Marizod early, and Erich was there, and they embraced and went in. And Erich said to just come on into Mandalay Hall, and he asked Erich, "Are you going to be realized in this life?" I can't remember. That was one of the questions he asked, but Erich wasn't quite clear on his answer. But then eventually the bus came and all the people piled into Mandalay Hall, and the session began. And he was at this point kind of not sitting right next to Erich, but a certain distance. And Erich looked over at him and said, "I envy you." And Charlie says, "You envy me? You got to be, next to Baba your whole life to serve him and everything. How could you ever envy me?" And Erich said, "I was young once, and I came through that door. And Baba gave me a glass of wine, of his wine. And I'm almost finished with that wine. I only have a few drops left. But he's just given you a glass. You have a whole time ahead." to drink that glass of wine. And Erich said, I would come back 1,000 times, even as a mangy dog, if I could comb his hair one last time, just to be able to comb his hair one last time. But he said, my time is over, and you are just beginning. So that was kind of lovely.
Why would Derek say that? I mean, I have the glass and I'm almost done, and you have the full glass in your hand. I mean,
He's close to realization. When he finishes the glass, he's kaput.
He's down to the last drops
I see.
of wine in the glass.
Then where did he go?
What's that?
And where does he go?
Where does Erich go?
Yes.
Well, he kind of gets dissolved.
Who?
Well, there was one time, I mean, Erich used to tell this story where you'd be in Mandalay Hall, and one day Baba said to Erich, you see that blemish on the wall? And, there were a few blemishes in the walls there in Mandalay Hall. See that blemish? And Erich pointed to it. That blemish is Erich. Erich is a blemish on my being. What has to happen is we have to wipe out. You kind of, you have to wipe out Erich.
Ooh.
Now, that's not appealing to most people. They want to realize Baba, and this is disappearing.
Effacement. It's effacement.
In fact, Erich used to say, beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more and still yet more till we become worthy of union with you. And help us all to hold fast to Baba's Dhamman till the very end. But Erich said what Baba really wanted to say was, beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more until we are no more. So that's a different approach.
Yep.
So,
what's the point if we become null and void?
We start over.
Please.
I know it is inscrutable, but what's awaiting us, or what's awaiting?
Can I sing a song?
Is what?
Could I sing a song?
Right after Jeff is done, yes.
Go on, no, you go ahead, Dave. Go ahead and sing.
Okay. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind. I'm losing my voice. Walk on through the rain, though your dreams may toss and turn. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. That's what I want to do. And I never want to walk alone.
Yeah, no, you're even now you're not walking alone. He's right
Jeff,
there. Yeah.
So when you said that being absorbed and remembering Baba, here is what Mehra said in Mehra Mehr. This is what she says. During the day, I'll be working in the garden, absorbed in my work. Sometimes I stop and think, Baba, I love you. Are you with me, Baba? Be with me in your work. So here she says, you get absorbed, but you should stop and remember Baba and then go back to work.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The last letter that she wrote to the West, Mara, I wish I could remember, but the image was, you need to have speed bumps on the highway of your remembrance. I mean, on the highway of your life. So that, and those speed bumps are moments when you remember Baba. So you don't just race through the day. All these speed bumps make you slow down, remember Baba, and then put it in fourth gear.
And in that she says, right, that one sentence, it is not the speed with which you obtain the objectives in life that count, but the time you share and spare and remember your beloved.
Beautiful, yeah. That's from that same letter. Yeah.
Can you say that again, Ganesh?
It is not the speed with which you obtain your objectives in life that count, but the time you share and spare and remember your beloved. I should have that letter handy. Give me a minute. I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the last one, and then there's one, I think the one I'm referring to is the letter before that, but yeah. Can you find it?
Yeah, I should be able to find it. Give me a minute.
Yeah. Hey, and Alan, oh my God. He just woke up, you know. He's been asleep for 20 years, like
He stuck a finger in his socket.
Rip Van Winkle.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're just hanging out here in cyberspace. Yeah.
It's nice when you yeah.
Inner space.
I love the name Circle of Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was founded by Jerry Edwards, who passed away this past year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
When did he find it? Where did he find it?
He found it in Myrtle Beach.
Oh.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
Yes, I did find that letter, the last one, which Mehra sent to the West.
Yeah.
Okay, this she sent in Christmas of 1988. So I'll read it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Always keep beloved Meher in your heart and in your thoughts. Remember, it is not the speed with which you obtain your goals in life that counts, but the time that you spare and want to share with your beloved that really matters. So with every step you take in life, remember and try to please your beloved, who is always with you, helping and guiding you on your journey home to himself, who is the source of all goodness and light. Always keep beloved Meher in your heart and in your thoughts. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful.
So sweet and simple. You know,
Yeah.
love is very simple and automatic. Her love was direct and automatic.
Yeah. When she, at least I experienced, when she would look at me, you know, we would be a number of us, but saying goodbye, just a glance at her and my whole body would glow. Just a glance from her loving eyes. Yeah.
And you survived it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just didn't last. No, but it gets better and better. So, Alan, any things kicking around in your skull?
Well, no, I think I like what you said about the speed bumps. That's nice. it's a good reminder. And then the story I think I started hearing you say about the kind of being a Baba remembrance machine, or just like thinking of Baba so much so that it, you know, there was some sort of you know, some sort of flow that wasn't happening when you were doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, lately I just been working so much that I would just have like these moments where I just have to glance at Baba's photo or something, or his eye, and recognize that, and just keep remembering that like all of this is his. And then it just really kind of releases the emergency brake that I put on of all my worries, you know. Yeah, because it just feels so real, you know. It feels really real when someone's like, you know, saying things to you that are not, you know, logical, or just don't really make sense, and you're trying to make sense of a situation, and where someone is emotionally, their emotional heights are very high, very chaotic situations where you just have to, where you know, I mean, it's not like dissociating either, you know. I think that's the fine line I'm trying to work with. It's like I'm not going to dissociate and be like, all of this is Baba's and I don't feel any of this, you know. It's like, no, I definitely feel the stings, but at the same time I recognize, well, I just have to take his name with every slap, you know. And just kind of go with that. But yeah, I am pretty tired.
Yeah, no, it's
I have a couple of poems I wanted to read.
yeah.
Um, do you know Jonathan Steinberg? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where he is now, but I just, we became great friends at the airport on the way home from LA Sahabas. And he left me with these poems, which I really liked. Here's the first one. It's me and you, like sky and blue, like sticky and glue, like a soul and its shoe. Or possibly it's you and me, like a cup of tea, like one and not we, like was, is, and will be. Mind finds endless ways to say, you're like that, or you're like this. Heart cries, Mayor Baba, existence, knowledge, bliss. That's one.
Wow. Yes. Let's pause there a second. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, yeah. And this one's funny. Well, shall I go on?
Yeah.
It's a tavern theme, Fereshteh. Oh, Mayhair, you are the real hottest nightclub, and my heart is your red carpet. You'd rather sit on the floor of that cold, forgotten place than anywhere else. He's talking about his heart. This thought is what really keeps my blood flowing. I got all dressed up and slipped $100 bill, but you have two big bouncers named Lust and Anger, and I can't seem to get past them. Baba, I don't even know how to dance. What am I doing in a nightclub? You told your lovers to go inside, and I can hear them singing your arti while I wait in line. Baba, I bet you know all those bartender tricks like pouring behind the back and throwing bottles in the air. It's just you don't like to show off. Your lovers aren't interested in all that show anyway. They're discriminating, so they just want the good stuff. Oh, Mayhair, Jonathan's fixing to get good and drunk and wants you to be his designated driver.
Good. I think I remember that one.
I've said it before. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. The volume on Betty is nice and clear and loud, and Jeff, I have to switch it and turn my volume up again.
Maybe because I'm close to the computer? I don't know.
I don't know.
Here, I don't know if I read this, but this was these are the last words that Erich ever said to me, and I didn't realize it at the time. Uh, Here's an exchange with Erich that you might find interesting. He was truly helpful to me, beginning with my fledgling years with Baba until the last year of his life. These are the last words Erich spoke to me, words that proved to be so invaluable in my life with Baba. At the time, I had no idea that they were his last to me. Every year in the fall, I would go to India, and at some point during my stay, I would get together with Craig Ruff, who was one of the Westerners living there. We would compare notes. He would tell me of the difficulties and problems he was dealing with in the trust compound, where the Mandali came into work and where a number of Westerners and some of Baba's close ones lived in one small compound. On my part, I would share some of the difficulties coming up at the center in Myrtle Beach. Around Baba's centers, there always seemed to be problems. I had been particularly troubled over the years by the struggle to achieve harmony among the staff at the center. After all, Baba stressed again and again the importance of harmony amongst his Mandali and his lovers. So Craig and I were engaged in our usual yearly comparing of notes about our respective places. We were sitting at a little table just outside the door of the trust office. In the midst of our conversation, Erich came out of the office on his way to take a telephone call at the far end of the veranda. And as he passed our table, he stopped and looked down, saying in a mock suspicious tone, as if we were a couple of conspirators, "What are you two guys doing?" Craig piped up saying, "Jeff is telling me about the problems at the center." Erich looked down at me where I was seated and said, "Jeff, are you still having problems?" I felt these words came directly from Baba through Erich into my lap. I caught them. Reading between the lines, I knew exactly the real meaning of what he was saying, which was, "Are you still having a problem with problems?" I realized that in that moment I was having a problem with problems, believing that they shouldn't be there. There should be genuine harmony at the center, not ongoing problems. But in that moment, Baba through Erich brought home to me what I really always knew. There are always going to be problems in life, even in the Baba world, and it was naive of me to continue to harbor such impossible expectations. Strive for harmony, yes, but do not expect it. It was clear to me to just deal with problems as they come up in the moment. That is, don't make out of it an ongoing campaign of eliminating all problems. Above all, enjoy the periods when there are no problems, when love is flowing and relationships are harmonious. And oddly enough, I have not really had any major problems with what's going on at the center since. Knock on wood.
Mhm.
That was, yeah. But I mean, we have a problem. We have a problem. We react to our reactions. You know, we can have reactions, but then we react to the reactions. We're adding on to it. We're having problems at the center. Then we got a problem with the fact that we're having problems at the center. It just compounds it. So he kind of took that away.
So basically, taking yourself out of the way. If there's a problem, deal with it, and don't add to the problem with your own problem of the problem, because it makes it harder to solve. Just deal with it head on, see what needs to be done, and move forward.
Yeah, that it's not wrong to have problems. Don't judge the problems, just deal with the problem. But don't say this shouldn't be happening, because it is, and deal with it. Anyway, I mean, it was invaluable to me. I have not, that was many years ago, and I just haven't had a problem, even though the situation is much the same. Yeah.
I love it when people actually deny that they're problems. That's even worse.
Yeah. I'd rather kind of see things for what they are and then adjust to them. Yeah. So
Well,
anyway.
do you adjust to them, or do you roll up your sleeve and try to help solve the problem?
Yeah, if it can be resolved with love, fine. You know, I'm for it, as long as it's really doable and not coming up against an attitude that's just not going to change. You know. Yeah. So that's my spiel.
That's a good one. I have a short story I could read.
Yeah.
It actually happened during one of your Effort and Grace meetings.
Okay. You mean you weren't listening attentively? You just kind of went off and had a story?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. Pretty much. Yeah. Let me see here. Can you hear me good? Or is my volume kind of low?
A little low, not bad.
A little low. I was thinking I should get my headphones. Move on a little bit. Just 1 second. Yeah, it was when we were having that Effort and Grace meeting. I don't know which one it was. Number 24. I'll just put a random number with it. But I was having a very challenging time during that moment, probably just because of all the things I was taking too seriously and the things that were compounding. But I wrote this right after this experience or this time.
Yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
Yep.
All right, so I had been having a particularly challenging week at work, and the level of stress was beginning to burst at the seams. So many little things kept building up, and I found almost every moment of the day felt like my skin was on fire. I just could not find peace of mind. This was taking a toll on my home life, and my heart hurt even more that in all of this, Baba seemed so far away from my heart throughout the week, which was unusual considering all the online Baba meetings I've been part of lately. There just was what felt like a thorn in my heart, and there was just what felt like a thorn in my heart, and through it bled insecurity, shame, rage, discomfort, and what seemed to be a major disturbance in my home life, PTSD. Memories kept surfacing from my past, and honestly felt like I could not run from the hauntings of my mind, which blurred my conscious vision. When finally my day off came, I did my best to sit and listen to Jeff Wolverton's reading of Effort and Grace live on Zoom with all these wonderful people. It was helpful to hear others share their experiences and thoughts of the avatar. Suddenly, I found my eyes could not stop reading the material, and I muted everyone on the meeting so I could focus. Darwin Shaw wrote about first cause and resting in first cause, page 80 to 81 in the book. And I suddenly found my eyes closed and my mind slowed way down. My breathing became more natural. The tension in my shoulders melted. And it was as if I just walked up a beautiful and quiet and up to a beautiful and quiet willow tree next to a still pond. Just such a spacious peace. As I opened my eyes and read the line in the room, it read, "And while abiding at the level of first cause, we may experience clarity of consciousness, peace of mind, and even bliss." I appreciated being in such a beautiful and spacious place after such an intense mental hellscape for so long. Honestly, even a moment spent in that space is too much. However, I now became very aware of a sharp thorn-like object in my heart, and the pain became unbearable in an instant. I took a large photo of Baba and looked directly into his eyes, desperate for any relief. Words of all my shame and turmoil, hopelessness and grief cried out to my beloved. I just couldn't hold it anymore. Within a couple minutes of this, I intuitively felt Baba ask me to open my eyes and look at him, for I had been sort of going within myself and wallowing in my own pain. My body froze, and all the air left my lungs in a gasping exhale, and the feeling of that splinter was being pulled from deep down in my heart, and it shot out my body. I shuddered as my mind and body tried to find equilibrium from this shift. Then Baba showed me through an internal film with wordless words that I was like a magnetic yo-yo in his hand. The view was from outer space looking onto Earth, and Baba flung me from the atmosphere of Earth into outer space, and that was like when I experienced chaotic and turbulent states of mind. And the mind being like a magnet for other thoughts, when he'd throw me out into space, this magnetic yo-yo would collect tiny, tiny fragments of magnetic dust, other thoughts. But the longer I stayed out in space, the more magnetic dust would collect on this yo-yo until it was a massive ball of chaotic magnetic dust thoughts. Best way I could put it. It was only when I made an effort to remember him and cry out for him that Baba would pull the string back and bring me back home to him, or closer to his orbit. I recall in that moment asking Baba if the string was strong enough to pull me back or if it would ever break. And Baba said, no, it can never break. It's an unbreakable connection. By the time I came back to the room in my chair and conscious of my surroundings, the Effort and Grace meeting had come to an end, but a few people were left saying their goodbyes. I wiped tears from my eyes and turned on the video to say hello, and I saw Ruth Apple, a wonderful, generous, and strong-hearted person. Beautiful. She mentioned it was nice to see me and asked how I was, and I told her it had been a hard week for me, but that sometimes I feel like a yo-yo being thrown out into space by Baba, just very casually. Just a very brief sentence or two in order to give her a metaphor I had just experienced. As we spoke, I felt relatively calm and composed until, in such a tender-hearted way, Ruth said, you know, Alan, Baba gave a metaphor for how we were like yo-yos and described that he threw us farther and farther and brought us closer and closer until we became no more. To say that her words brought confirmation of Baba's unfathomable knowing is not enough. In that moment, all those quiet, internal moments where I questioned whether I was really hearing and feeling Baba, all that doubt melted in his arms. I felt held like a baby that could cry into a mother's chest, could finally stop pushing and pulling, trying to find a way out of all of this. I could finally rest in him. Ever so personally and ever so sweetly, Baba answered my call to him. Jai Baba.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's, yeah.
Good
Very,
writing.
yeah. No, it's beautiful that you're able to just put this journey, internal journey. So, because we all have taken these journeys like that, in not necessarily the same exact detailed way, but we're we're I've taken a lot of those journeys.
Indeed.
But things start to calm down a little bit as you get older. It just, it's just like they say, you know, my dad now is mellowed out. He used to have a temper when he was younger, but now he's mellowed out. That's a common thing that happens. A lot of the sharp edges soften.
I've also noticed that as we deepen our relationship with Baba in our own individual ways, it gets more automatic. You know, it's more effortless to call on him. It's just like an automatic. You don't have to try. It's just there, and becomes
But Alan, you
part of your day.
should get Alan and Adrian to come and work at the center. You're getting a lot of practice with all these customers.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, hey, you might as well be doing it here instead of for some company.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that would be great sometime in the future.
I think that's true, Jeff. I mean, being constantly in the midst of a bunch of people really brings out all the challenges that otherwise might get hidden. And then you'll have a chance to contemplate on, on real things. I mean, I envy Jeff there basically because he's constantly meeting people left and right all the time. And so that helps quite a bit, actually. I mean, to question everything that happens and then be able to, set ourselves in the way Baba wants us to live. Yeah.
One benefit in listening to people's problems is that, and listening deeply to people's problems is that, for me, I realize, well, I'm not going to do that. I know what that ends. I know what that winds up being. So people have actually helped me by sharing me their problems because I've seen that that's not a wise thing to do because these are certain consequences. So I've been helpful in listening to other people immensely.
I mean, my example has been here, I'm not so much in the midst of activity, but when I go to India for a few months now that I have retired, and I spend time there, and then there's always this activity, a lot of Baba work that goes on, and while doing that, and you're now interacting with people left and right, and then and obviously you're part of the activity that's going on, and then I find, even small things that normally never crop up in my life here, and they show, and I find myself a bit irritated and then, unable to go with things that happen out there. And, and of course, it gets resolved in some way or other, not necessarily the way Baba wants it to be. But then I come back and then here I have a lot of time to think about all those things that happened. And so yes, I realized, God, I wish I had been a little different. That kind of thing. And so, this interaction with the people constantly definitely brings out a whole lot of things to surface.
Yeah, I think if I had lived all these years in Dallas, Texas, I would have lived entirely. I would have been entirely. I would have. It would have been an entirely different life.
Mm.
But the one thing that I've said this before, and I can't overemphasize it, that although I have the benefit of being around Baba people, but I keep talking about these divine qualities, and some of the Baba people embody maybe one of the divine qualities in a spontaneous and true way. And to see it, there might be somebody that's truly generous. They may be backward on a number of other qualities, but they are truly generous. And when I see that, the beauty of real generosity, it changes my being, seeks to emulate that. Or if I see somebody who is around somebody who is really fearless, there's some people in the Baba community that are truly fearless, even though they may not be generous or they may not be empathetic or whatever, but they are kind of fearless. And when you see these divine qualities down being embodied by somebody, you get a great benefit. I mean, I haven't felt like, oh, gee, I don't feel jealous of these qualities. I mean, I have actually benefited from these. You see somebody that's got a real a humorous way of looking at life. Humor is one of the divine qualities, and you see that, and it awakens those divine qualities in yourself. So,
what example might you have for people being fearless?
you mean like a person?
Yeah.
One person that's pretty fearless is Jim Meyer.
I must have inherited some of his qualities because I have the same birthday.
Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, in other words, rather than kind of feel jealous that someone has developed a quality to a deeper extent than you have, you can it can make a great, it can be very helpful. And then of course you have people like Kitty and Erich. You know, I mean, you see that a lot of the they have they embody a lot of the divine qualities. Being around that, but I don't know, Ganesh. What do you think?
Yeah, I connect to what you are saying. So, like if it is Kitty, that's cheerfulness, and if it is Erich, it's like obedience, and he was a true slave. So all that, each one had a unique quality in themselves.
Yeah, and yeah, we can imbibe those.
We can imbibe.
Kitty really had the spiritual well-being of others. She was so dedicated to that. She wanted you to draw closer to Baba. You know, she was so beautiful in that completely.
Jeff, sometimes it's my turn.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because to control we should first for the Baba lover, especially volunteers, Baba volunteers, they should also have to read the human psychology. Because I had a very, very vast experience as a 41 years volunteer during Amartiti. Different kinds of people will come.
Yeah.
Some are new, some are old. And you know, the place management is a very difficult in the tents. The tents capacity will be, they say totally 1200 hostel. Normal days, it will accommodate only 1000 people. But during Amartiti, you have to accommodate 2000 people in the hostel.
Yeah.
2000 means we always say one stone, 2 by 6 for one man. If you take beds, two beds, 3 people to sleep, like that. Some people politely, when we say, Jai Meher Baba, please try to understand us, the difficulty we are facing. Few people doesn't. In such time, we use situation theory. Situation means when he is arrogant, and if it is angry, we try to avoid him at that time. And then after some time, please try to understand. You see you see the difficulty. You are seeing the difficulties. Please try to cooperate with. Such a request will make the oblige. It's only, of course, whatever we do is behind us. Baba is there. It's sometimes even during the Samadhi Darshan also. People, when they go inside, bow down to Baba's Samadhi, and they just give once, around 3 or 4 seconds to do it. And the moment over is Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba, they give warning. Doesn't they touch the body? The moment they touch the body, they'll get angry. So very, very difficult to face the situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes even if you say something, they do reverse. Don't do that, they'll do it. It's a very, very hectic this thing. It's a very, sometimes I feel that's the reason. That's what I sometimes feel is Viruch is warm, Pendu is soft, but Padri is very strict. I still remember I'm supposed to report the duty during 1978 at 9 o'clock in the morning. If I report at 8 o'clock, your time is 9 o'clock. You have got 1 hour. Please go away from this place. Go! He used to shout like that. Time and time. But same time, he has a very good heart. Even Padri looks very hard and harsh in feeling, but he got so much love for Baba. That's what I feel. But to visualize all situation for a new person is very difficult. So you should have tact, you should have human psychology, you should have patience, everything should be there. Otherwise, and sometimes even we feel very difficult. Sometimes they give the instructions. It sounds difficulty, very these things are, it sounds very unusual, but still, if you have to remove something is in from the right hand, you say, no, no, please remove it the left hand. Then we say, what is wrong with this? But we have to follow the instruction. And it's handling of one person, handling a house of consisting family itself is a difficult. Handling so many people at the Amartiti is really, they try. You have been seeing the pace right from 70 to 70 Amartiti to 2020. There's a drastic change. There was early days in 70s, no tents, no buildings. Slowly the improvement, so many things. And previously when we used to go in 70s, 4 and 70s stay, there's no bag. When we used to go to Vadri to you have come, where do you going to stay? You stay in that. There's no lights, no fan, no only used to give mosquito. But the food we have to say says, go and beg in the Arangao. Used to say like that. But now hospital D, so many facilities has come. Now Baba is pouring so much love on the Baba lovers, and same time people should also visualize the difficulties. If that's what Balnath once I remember MBG Shastri said you should do like that. Balnath said, don't advise her, don't advise us. Please, if you want to come and do it, please come and do it. Don't advise. It's very easy to advise, but very difficult to do. So sometimes I feel when I think about that, how Jeff is managing the center is with only by Baba's grace and with his tact. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you takes a lot of practice at acceptance.
Now Madchen is in the midst of all that stuff that happens. Oh God, it can be intense.
Yeah. So, Alan, you have anything further? I mean, you're mentioned that. Anything that how are you feeling now about that whole turn that you experienced?
Well, I think it's just shows. It's like my relationship with Baba is now that I see that there'll be moments, where there's this distance, and I don't know if I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to find this story I once read long ago, but I can't remember it. But it's somebody that was at Myrtle Beach, and it was a woman that Baba had disbanded everybody, from the meeting, and I'm not sure if it was like early 50s or not. I think it was. I'm not sure, but anyways, he disbanded everybody, but she couldn't like leave him, and so she tried to follow him, a little further out. Besides, everybody, left, but she just kept wanting to be with him, and I think he turned around, and she just felt all that, that love emanating from him, and then he like made some motion where like she couldn't come any further. And she said that moment of like having to stop and like just feeling her whole physical being stop was like so painful.
it just felt like he was gone. Like he wasn't, she just couldn't feel him, and she was like desperate to feel him again. So she would follow a little further, and then he was walking, with his back turned to her, and he would stop and he'd turn around, and he would, that she would feel that love again, and then he would say, like, stop. And I think it happened 3 times. On the third final time, she finally really couldn't physically move any further, and also got the gist, like, she just has to let him go for that time being. Like, she just was so desperate to be with him all the time. And I don't know where that story is from, or do you
Yeah, I
know where
don't
that's
know.
from?
No, I don't know who that is.
Ah,
I mean, I
yeah,
probably know who the person is, but
yeah. That's sort of the feeling I think I've been getting lately, where it's just working nonstop, and everybody around me is sort of I just noticing with the people that I'm speaking to out there in the world. There's a lot of um, impatience and tension, and just kind of jumping from zero to 100.
yeah.
Uh, from hello to like what, real upset. So, and then everybody around me seems to be kind of agitated and upset, and I guess I'm just, it's strange, but in this time, this last week, I think it just feels like I think I've just gone down one of those fast rivers. Just took one morning, and one thought or something, one train thought I jumped on, and I kind of been riding it ever since. It's just like I look at Baba for a second, and then I'm like, I'm just so engrossed in all the work I have to do, and I'm doing. It's like a constant stream of homework that I have to keep remembering. So, but I trust, or I feel like, that for a moment, like today, I looked at him, and it was like, oh, this had to be, it has to be this way. It was like a precious moment. Just for one split second, I looked at a picture of him, and it was like, oh, this is just a moment in time, like a very small moment in time. Even if this lasted for years or for the rest of my life of me working and not barely remembering him, it's like it doesn't mean anything, because I'm already with him all the time, and not necessarily feeling him doesn't mean that he's not with me. It's just, I mean, we've said it before, but it's, yeah, it's like I kind of just have the gist. He's kind of nudging me along and winking, like, yeah, you have to do
And
some
and
work here.
and a lot of this is training. If you're destined to be with him,
Right,
then a lot of this can be training. I mean, destined to be physically with him.
right,
Uh, all this can be training for the difficulties of relating to people, a wide range spectrum of people,
yep,
how to not get bound, but how to get certain objectives done.
right,
Because if you're with him, he's going to say, I need to get into Pakistan, and we need you to get the visas, and you got to go in there and get the visas. You can't come back and say, "Well, Bob, I wasn't able to do it. I mean, the guy was so mean to me." you know, it's. I mean, they know how they all this. You learn how to push buttons in a diplomatic way to get a job done. Erich was a master at that.
That's what I mean when I see
Yeah,
Erich, or I hear Erich's stories. I mean, I
yeah.
just am like so. I
How
mean,
he did
that's,
these things.
talk about an example of being inspired. You know what I mean? Like that, what you're talking about, where they live that example, and you're like, oh man, that's. I would have been so. I mean, I'm sure he lost it too, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would have just really, man.
Having those skills, isn't it a gift? That having that tact, having those, I mean, I
Mm,
just wonder if those skills which Rich used to handle, or having that tact in that situation, isn't that skills a gift from Baba?
I would say it's a gift from Baba, but you also have to develop it down on the ground. I mean, I've mentioned this before. A buddy of mine went. There were 4 of us who went to India, and for the first time, and And one of the guys, went to Pune, and Jal, Baba's brother, took us around. We saw the Baba sites, and then three of us, we went on to Ahmednagar, and this buddy of mine stayed back. He was kind of a real he was still heavy from his drug days. He was still a bit groggy from that experience, and but so he stayed over another day, and he was with with Jal having lunch, and Jal was a very cheery, lively, animated guy, and so he said he said to Jal, you're so enthusiastic, you're so cheerful, so full of life. What is your secret? And Jal said just one word: practice. So a lot of these things you can say, well, they're given, God given, Baba's grace, but it's a lot of work.
Wonderful.
And he's talking about, I mean, in that one word, he's talking from millions and millions and millions of, I mean, I don't know how many millions, but just how many lifetimes and how many experiences and things he had to get crushed by to
You have to
get
keep
to that
rising
point.
above. Keep rising above, rise above it, rise above this, rise above that.
Sometimes there's no incentive. It feels like sometimes there's no incentive to do so, It's like it feels like a completely desolate situation where you're like everything around here looks like, what do they call it with the end of the world, the apocalypse. Everything right now feels like the apocalypse, and I have to stand up and be this shining flower. Like, forget that. I'm gonna cover myself in ash. I'm gonna cover my body in ashes and just go along with it. It just feels like that sometimes. So to rise
Yeah.
above, man, that's
Yeah, no, it's one of the things that when I was in a state like you, I went to Marwan Jesawala. I mean, I was with him, and he said, difficulties I was having, and he said, endure, endure, endure.
wow. Is that all? That's all he told you? He just like looked at you in the eye and was like, endure, man.
Endure, endure.
Endure, endure, endure.
Well, there's a certain amount of that.
Wow.
Ganesh, what you thinking over there?
No, I'm just absorbing.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I'm in practice and endure. Wow, it's like lifetimes.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it can be engaging. You can kind of get absorbed in it, like I said, like climbing Mount Everest. I mean, if you're into it, your enthusiasm can carry you through a lot of pain and suffering, agony.
Compared to complaining how cold it is and noticing all the
Yeah,
fallacies, all the things that are going wrong.
they endure incredible things because they've got that enthusiasm to get to the summit.
Right.
And that same kind of thing we have to apply to to drawing closer to Baba.
Yeah, it feels very alluring, I think, like just the world in general, just it feels very, very, very tricky, very real. It's like one of those, it's like a character that I think about, and for me, I don't know why this character comes up, but it's a character that where in order to get this thing, this creature will give you, it's like this mythical creature will give you any answer you want, any answer you have. Any question you have, it'll answer you. But the only thing is that when you go into the cave, you have to keep a straight face. You can't make any sort of expression, and that's the only thing that this person was given. That's the only advice they were given. So this person went in there, this cave, and they were like, "Hello, hello, is anybody here?" And all of a sudden, this like giant beast-like caterpillar-like creature kind of swirls around them, and its face comes right up to the person's face, and it has this creepy voice, and it says, do you remember me? And it shifts, and it's a shape-shifting face. So, and then it turns into a face of a person that either has hurt you so badly, or a person that you really used to love, you've lost. It'll turn into their face and into their voice and be like, help me, I'm lost, please forgive me. You know, and then if you make any expression, if you react to that, then you will never get the answer, and the beast will eat you and will use your face. So this person, though, who in the story is known as the Avatar, this person had to cross this threshold of going here in order to learn something that they needed for the next part of their journey. And they did it. They were able to keep a straight face and ask this divine question, and this being didn't eat them. But it feels like that sometimes, honestly. It feels like
Yeah.
so easy to get tricked, because somebody will make a face or do something to you, and you're like, I just can't, I just have to make a face. I have to react to this. But then it's not real, and there's more consequence to, I feel like there's more consequence to pushing up against it and trying to fight against it than there is in the sense of, like, for me, keeping a straight face relates to like remembering him, remembering Baba. It's like remembering him makes me just not really engage with that so much. As believing, when I say engage, I mean believing that it's real, really falling for that. Oh, this is just so real. It's like you still have to live in it.
I mean, what's helped me is you can react, but don't react to your reaction.
Uh-huh.
In other words,
so you can spurt out with anger.
Yeah, but just don't react to, don't say, oh, I shouldn't have gotten angry. I mean, because your sanskars are going to be reacting to the world around you. You're not going to be able to stop that. But at least you not react to the fact that you're reacting to things around you.
Right.
I mean, that if you can get some space there, that is because you're not going to be able to. Your sanskars are not going to be able to not react.
Yeah.
But then you don't have to react to the fact that your sanskars are reacting.
And isn't that what Baba talks about with, like, with forgiveness, where he says, like, man basically can't forgive, he can't forgive himself for those things, but like God wrote it in that there would be like forgiveness in everything, in every moment. There is already automatically forgiveness for every action that's ever been done, but like we just can't forgive ourselves for the fact that we keep bringing it up, and it keeps making us do the thing we don't want to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to see yourself behaving below the standards you set for yourself and not react.
Right.
Because you are a mixture of love and selfishness. So it would be, if we're going to put an expectation of always being loving on us, we're going to be very unhappy.
I'm trying to understand you, Jeff, here.
Yeah.
You say don't react to the reaction. Just like if you give a situation where, I mean, somebody is making you feel miserable and you just want to go to that person and tell him, and you're all, suppose thinking you are raged up and you just want to tell him, and once you tell him that, the inner feeling that comes next is like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have like maybe held on to I shouldn't have given it back, or I shouldn't have been this angry or something like that. And that you feel within automatically. Or you just scold someone and you feel in your heart, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So you mean of that reaction, or what it is? Like, don't react to the reaction. I'm not getting it that when you say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I mean, this is, sounds good on paper, but when you try to do it, I mean, it's hard not to like speak up and speak your mind to somebody then that's difficult because now you've got someone else and their reaction to deal with besides your reaction. You know, I try to be a little bit careful not to just go and give someone a piece of my mind. There are just consequences. I mean, I usually have to kind of apologize.
Well, there's where poise comes in. You can say it in a nice way, as nice as
Yeah.
you can. Say it with love, if you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I was just thinking of where you're, you know, the a negative reaction
Yeah.
comes out of you. But yeah, ideally you can, if you can do it with love, like Betty says, I mean, of course, that's the highest you can do.
And that you should do with the people at home.
That's so true.
It's so difficult to do. I mean, you take them so much for granted. You just feel always that they understand. I mean, I can say sorry to a lot of people outside once. I mean, whenever I'm wrong. But ask me to do it at home, it takes me a lot of courage and guts.
You know
and,
what?
and I feel I have to just constantly apologize. I mean, which is also ridiculous.
Yeah. I found, I mean, for me, I found mock anger, mock objection, mock disapproval keeps me kind of from getting bound. Why are you asking me to do something like this? I need to be free. I want to be. Go and tell me. I mean, you know, I mean, just take it, to exaggerate it. You know, so yeah, I mean, it's get it out of your system, kind of in a harmless way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Jeff, going back, way back, I'm sorry, it's out of context. Going back to Charlie Gardner's story about the Ku Klux Klan, I have that on my desktop on a sticky. Would you like it, or do you have it somewhere written out by him? Or would anybody else? I'll send it to anybody who wants it if you...
Yeah, no, no, I just told you I didn't write it up. I mean, you could call, I could give you Charlie Gardner's number and you could.
No, what I have is his first person story. He tells a story and it's pretty good. It's,
yeah. Oh, someone else told you that story?
No, I have it. I got it somewhere written. I have it written out here, so I have the Word file here.
Okay, yeah.
If you'd like it, and if anybody else would like it, just give me your email and I'll send it out.
Yeah, that was.
Okay, fabulous story.
Yeah, if you have my email address, have you?
I do. It's all ready to go. I just wondered if you wanted it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think that was published somewhere.
Maybe that's it. Somehow I got it.
Yeah. You know, one thing that my generation had more of a problem with it than I think your generation. But serving others, serving others, I mean, a lot of our generation, you serve and you serve others and everything, and until you get burnt out, and then you kind of get very upset by it. And one of the things that Baba said in the discourses, maybe I'll read it because it kind of liberates service to others. It defines a service to others in a particular way. There's one sentence in there that when I read it way back when, it was invaluable, and I think that it saved me a lot of bindings. I'll see if I can find it.
Discourses. Have you guys read this book, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Dance of Love.
Yeah. Have you read that, Prakash?
No. Margaret Trask?
Yeah.
Very short.
Great sense of humor.
Oh my God.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not getting any video from anyone.
Oh.
I can't see anyone.
Oh.
Okay, now you're on. I can see Betty. Thanks. Yeah. Sorry, Alan. What was the book, please?
Oh, it's called The Dance of Love: My Life with Meher Baba by Margaret Krask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There's a fabulous video of Margaret and Kitty and was it? Do you know? Delia. Right. Oh my gosh, Margaret was hysterical.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's available.
Margaret was one of the
Oh, is that the Frivolous 3 or something?
Frivolous 3, the Frivolous 3, yeah. Oh my goodness, she was funny.
So I'm going to, I'll read a couple of paragraphs here.
Yeah.
But I mean, Baba put something in here that was unexpected for me when I read it. It's called readiness to serve. The aspirant always has to be in readiness to serve the cause of humanity. He need not apply himself to any type of work, irrespective of his capacity. He has to select that portion of work which he is qualified to do by virtue of his individual aptitude and abilities. But whatever service he can render by virtue of his capacity, he renders even when the circumstances are most trying. The ordeals through which he may have to pass are many, but his determination to serve whenever possible must remain unshaken. He is not in any way attached to the idea of service, however, in the sense of maximum results being secured through himself alone. If any service needs to be rendered, he is willing to render it with any amount of sacrifice, but he is never bound by the false idea I alone should have the credit for doing it. If the privilege of rendering the service falls to the lot of someone else, he is not envious. Now here's the line that stood out to me when I was young and I read it. If he were to seek opportunities for himself to render service, it would be a form of selfishness. In service, I'll go back to that. In service which really counts in the spiritual life, there can be no thought of the self at all. There should be no necessity felt to have something for oneself or of being the one who can give something to others. The self in all its forms has to be left entirely out of the picture. Service should spring out of the spontaneity of freedom if and when it is necessary, and it has to come in a cooperative spirit in which there is no insistence upon the claims of the limited I. But the line that really stood out to me when I was young, if you were to, because I was kind of raised to kind of serve others, but Baba says, so and you kind of get that message from Baba, but then he says this, if he were to seek opportunities for himself to render service, it would be a form of selfishness.
Yeah.
That changes the context of service.
You said if he was trying,
if he were to seek opportunities for himself to render service, it would be a form of selfishness.
So you don't have to look for it.
Yeah. Just be aware of the needs. And if you see a need and your heart responds, you respond.
Well, I never heard that way.
But your generation is not so service oriented the way we were brought up.
Yeah.
It's a little different. But now Betty, she's been serving all these people in this house for ages. She's stuck.
It's like if you seek an opportunity, serve with selfishness. Supposing at the center, just asking, is there something I can help with? Is that a form of selfishness? Because I'm seeking an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of feel it out. If it comes spontaneously, not something that you should do, or you need it to complete your sense of work. But if it comes up spontaneously, it's the way to go.
It makes a lot of sense, actually, Jeff. I mean, obviously, it should make sense, but I have an example. I mean, an instance where we were getting ready to celebrate Baba's birthday in Hyderabad, and we were pretty much all set. I mean, what to do? Everybody has some task and all that stuff, and we feel good about how it is planned and everything is done, and then we didn't need any external help because all work is sort of organized. And suddenly there comes this a lady from somewhere, and then she just pops in and then says, well, I mean, here I am, I'm ready to do anything that you guys want. Tell me what you want me to do. And then we were all scrambling around what to tell her and how to, allocate something for her, because we just couldn't dig something out all of a sudden. And then, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, we had to say, look, I mean, we are good here. I mean, there is not much to do at this time. And then she was a bit disappointed and she had to leave. And that one is the case where you're looking for an opportunity. You're just going to place thinking that, you'll jump in and do something. And I mean, where there is no need as such, that kind of thing.
Yeah, these are all very tricky.
Yeah.
How to handle them without hurting people's feelings. Yeah.
In fact, Jeff, in Jubilee Hills, for Baba's birthday and for November 14th or Center Day, we got a different works to do. Each person has to do. For example, stage is managed by somebody, and total meeting should be conducted by a certain person, and food is taken by somebody. Somebody will take care of food, and somebody will take care of the cultural program like dance, songs, and all that. And Prakash knows, especially in Koti, Gopi group takes 3 weeks or 1 month for the rehearsals for the songs. Yeah. Whereas in Jubilee Hills, we normally, people said people should sing nicely, so that if you sing so beautifully, people should stay there. People should not run away. You can understand. So like that, we have a lot of delegation of powers and duties. Normally, everyone understands that way. And I want to ask you a question, one question and one request. Can I?
Yeah.
The first is, it might be strange, it is a strange question, but still I feel is, during 1970s to late 2000, or I can say up to 2000, there are a lot of freshness during July pilgrim season, July to August, again in December. Now I feel very hardly freshness coming to the Mehrabad.
Yeah.
Because of the Mandali or because of this thing. And secondly, in India, we find a lot of younger generation is coming up. Like people like many younger generation people who have not just heard for 1 year, 6 months, they are coming. A lot of, especially in Vidarbha area and some part of Maharashtra. Previously, they were not from Maharashtra, even in Andhra. A lot of people during Amar Tithi or during other days also. Why? Even that it was Pilgrim Center was there originally to accommodate the Westerners, those who used to come. And even before the Pilgrim Center, they used to come and stay. In spite of there are not much good hotels in the Aman Nagar, Still, the people is to come in a buses. They come to the India. They from there they hire buses, and they come to the Samadhi. Now there are beautiful hotels around the in and around the Mehrabad and all, and a beautiful MPR is there. But I don't know why Westerners
Well,
are not coming. The reason
yeah,
behind
you're
it,
saying
and
why there aren't more Westerners. See,
yeah,
I would say in
are
America,
they are coming to at least for the spiritual center, Mayor Spiritual Center, Middle Beach, longer younger generation people?
yeah, see about 80%, I'm just guessing, about 80% of the Baba lovers in America are of my generation. They're older. And
Yeah,
it is gotten impossible for most of them to come to India, you know. And now a lot of the younger people are having to get established in with their careers and their children and all of that. And not all of the children of the Baba lovers are devoted to Baba. And so the numbers dropped considerably. And so the 80% are they'll come to the center because it's Baba's atmosphere, but you don't have to go through this marathon of a trip over to India. I mean, it's
yeah,
grueling, and it's actually not possible. I mean, the unpleasantness of it discourages so many people of my generation. So the numbers have dropped considerably of people coming from the Western world, but they are now coming to the center and making their pilgrimage. I mean, not during this pandemic, but over the last 20, 30, 20 years, they're coming to the center where it's much more convenient and easier, and you're in Baba's atmosphere.
yeah.
It's
And
not.
my request is tomorrow you're coming for the talks. Would you like to share? Tomorrow is the 117th birthday of Adi Kairani on
Uh-huh.
4th September. Are you going to share some your experiences, your attachment with Adi Kairani? Because the most of the generation has forgotten the Adi.
Yeah, there are not many around.
Yeah,
Well, if you can send me the link and everything, I don't know if I can, but I would sure like to have the option.
yeah. Now tomorrow, are you going to come for this late night talks tomorrow?
Yeah, the late night I'll be here. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can share some experiences of your experiences with Adi so that we can also listen to you.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
because I feel he is the first and foremost public relation officer to the West and the East
Yeah.
during late uh, early 50s too, till Baba dropped his body, and even till he dropped his body in till Adi breathed his
78.
last up to 80.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Ganesh, Dinku, you have any any burning questions or anything to
Uh,
share?
well, yeah, I wanted to, when you were talking about Westerners coming to India and the younger generation, I just was curious, are people not from the Baba family in the West, the younger generation, also getting drawn to Baba, or are they just not aware that?
We had a great surge in the late 60s through the 70s, the mid 60s to 1980, I would say, of a younger generation, and I think that wave it was a bit, massive wave, and then it subsided. So there's a steady trickle of people being drawn to Baba, but not a wave of people, younger people being drawn to Baba at this point. I mean,
Yeah, like
I
I'm
don't
part
know
of the
how. I mean,
trickle.
huh?
I'm part of the trickle because I didn't come from a Baba family either.
Yeah, he kind of.
Yeah.
Some of these, like Alan, yeah, he kind of trickled in. we didn't. We weren't able to mop him up, and he trickled in.
So do you think that the Baba's influence in the West with the present generation is diminishing?
The present younger generation, I would say yes. But I
Oh,
do feel that Baba, the people that are drawn to Baba are people who met him and were with him in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, 50s and 60s. So there's a limited number of people who physically met Baba earlier in his in the earlier decades.
What makes you is that more of an intuitive feeling?
Yeah, I mean, Erich has said certain things like that too, but I mean, why would somebody get drawn to somebody who lived and passed on in 1969? You grow up in America and all of its culture. How would you possibly get drawn to someone like Meher Baba?
Yeah, against
Not
the
met
current.
you have to have met him.
Mm.
Otherwise, you just go for some present day master that you can actually have some physical contact with. But I think that people like you are drawn because you know him from the past, and and you're back again.
I came across somebody who was I would say I don't know where he was in terms of the plains, but I remember he knew a great deal about me, and he was talking to me, and he was from this tribe in Colombia, and they wear these tall white hats and they kind of dress in all white, and they don't say very much, but when they do, they're pretty I don't know, they make a movement in the room, you could say, like everyone you can kind of is drawn to their energy. So he looked at me and he was like telling me this stuff, and I was looking at him because he was being translated from his language to Spanish and then to me. And I was looking at him and he was looking at me, and he was saying like he was just saying these things he was trying to be helpful to me. And I was looking at him and I was like Meher Baba, man, Meher Baba, like I was saying it in my mind. And then he said to the translator, I understand that I'm not your master. I'm just trying to tell you a couple of these things for your life that's coming up, or these things that are, I'm not trying to be your master. I know you have a master. He could tell that I was with Baba, like he wasn't trying to like sway me anyway, but yeah, it's one of those things. I showed him actually a video of Baba from 1967 of Baba doing, he's in the chair. It was all I put it in silence because he couldn't understand it. And so he sees Baba's hand gestures, and then he's staring at it for like a good 10 minutes, and then he kind of nods and like looks away, and he's just staring straight. And in the video, like the next part of the video, the next section was Baba washing people's feet, putting in, bowing to them. And he asked people at this gathering something very unusual, which is he like asked if he could wash people's feet. And it was just very strange kind of movement, but it was like, I asked him, do you understand what he's saying? He's like, yes, a little bit. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. So I don't know. It's just sometimes we don't really know who we're coming across. Even somebody at like a cafe, they could have like shook Baba's hand and not know it, and they're just like their next life it'll be to come to Baba or something like that.
Yeah.
So Jeff, I mean, question. Did Eric say that those who haven't had an opportunity to physically see Baba in this lifetime had perhaps seen him or been with him in their previous lifetime, and that's one of the reasons why you get drawn to him very easily. Is that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm one of those. I had the chance. I was born in '59. I have 10 years to be with Baba, at least once or twice in one of these darshans, but I couldn't see. I didn't get a chance. My younger brother did, and most of the family did. And three of us, three siblings, I mean, my elder brother and my sister and myself didn't get the opportunity. Then I always feel maybe I've seen him before. I mean, and Baba thought that, okay, look, there's so many other people waiting in the queue to have my physical darshan. You guys can wait, or something like that. I always get that feeling, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure we've been with Baba in the 1920s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s.
That's very consoling.
Because it's not like Baba draws people who believe in him during this period. He draws people who know him and experience him.
Wow, that's a very particular differentiation. Not people who believe in him.
Yeah, Baba's not attracting believers at this stage. You know, Carl Jung was the great Swiss therapist. Said he was interviewed. I don't remember the exact interview, but someone asked him, "Do you believe in God?" And he said, "No." He said, "No, you don't believe in God?" No, he said, "I know him." So, but that's kind of what's happening now. If Baba wanted a bunch of believers, I mean, boy, he could really round them up. But it seemed like this is a special, now this is just my opinion. I feel this is a special time for those of us who have been with Baba to enjoy some intimacy before the masses start coming to Baba. We're running into each other because of our internal links.
Yeah, I truly believe what you say, Jeff. With like what happened, like it's easy for people to know about Baba, and then people start pouring in at Nairabad, and then it becomes like a public darshan place and all that. Right now, it's more intimate, and that's like a Baba's miracle that he's maintaining for us before it opens up. And to open up is very easy, like with the kind of media that is there. But the intimate time which we are having is something, a precious gift.
Yeah. I mean, look at Sai Baba. I mean, that just a massive people going there.
You know what? They made a movie, and once they released that movie, this was somewhere in the 80s, and everybody started knowing about Sai Baba, and suddenly people started pouring into Shirdi, and Shirdi wasn't even able to accommodate so many people. And it just happened in one single wave, just with a movie. So
yeah.
I still remember, Jeff, during 1969, 70, 80s till 78. We used to come with those days. Amartiti was 4 days. It used to start on 29th and it's to end up on the 2nd February. So we should report only at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So our trains are such a way. We used to go to first to Manmad to Shirdi. From Shirdi we used to come in a bus. In those days, Shirdi was hardly with a couple of people, 40 or 50 or 60 people. Yeah. Now because of the Manoj Kumar's film Shirdi Ke Sai Baba, which is released in 78, there's a drastic change has come, and people. Now, what I feel is that's what my interpretation. I may be wrong or I just think, as Baba said during 1958 hours, and after 70 years, this place becomes a holy place of pilgrimage. And once he said, after my dropping, 60 years after my dropping of the body, it will become. So now time has come. According to my understanding, it's only my interpretation. 2029, and even Shirdi Sai Baba, though he dropped his body in 1918, and he didn't have much people around him till 60 years. And sometimes I even have a question when 5 perfect masters are there, is a Kutube Kutub. So that's the reason Baba has given in charge up to 2029. And my understanding in 2029, even people even step into Mehrabad itself will be difficulty. That's my understanding. I may be right, I may be wrong. Baba Jane.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, this is as about as intimate as it can get with given human psychology. You know, if people could, you know, they could flock to, if they think they're going to get some holy benefit like they do to Sai Baba, they go over there, not because of a personal relationship with Sai Baba so much as, you know, there are blessings to be gotten there. But hopefully, at this point, Baba's samadhi isn't that yet.
Yeah, it reminds me of like that imagery of like the 1930s when the Western Mandali were just getting, you know, they were introduced to Baba by, who were they introduced by? By Meredith Starr or
Meredith Starr, yeah.
Yeah, like just that time frame of how gentle he was with them and the sweetness of that time he spent with them. Just incredible. Just incredible. Like that, I think it was Meredith Starr, or it could have been someone else, but he was like demanding that everybody, at one point, demanding that everybody, well, not demanding, but he was saying that everybody should meditate
Yeah.
At a specific time, and Baba had not given those instructions. And then Baba kind of walked into a room with, I think, with Margaret and Kitty, and you know, they were up on like a second floor or something, and Meredith was down there facing away from them, sitting on the ground trying to meditate. I think it was Meredith. I could be wrong, but
I think it was Quentin Todd. I think
Quentin Todd. Yes, yes, and he was looking away from them, and he was trying really. You could tell from his posture of his sitting, he was like really trying to get into his meditation, like, you know, just really get into it. And Baba came in swinging his arms and like kind of playful, and like I forgot exactly what he grabbed. I think he grabbed like a little. Do you remember what it was, Jeff? Was it a?
I know he was throwing pebbles.
It was a pebble.
At somebody from a balcony, I think, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Something
That's
like that.
he grabbed a little pebble and he threw it at the back of he threw it at his back, who was sitting there, and you could tell from his from his posture, he's like trying to stay in the meditation really hard and like just trying to ignore that little distraction, but like, you know, everybody in the room is like laughing and trying to keep it together. And it happens like 3 times, and the third time, that's when he like turns around, he's about to start screaming, but he realizes it's Baba, and he's like, "Oh, like, why did you do that?" Like, but it's like, it's just sweet little moments like that where, you know, it's he didn't go up to he didn't go up to Meredith Starr and say, you know, what is this? Like, you're disobeying me, you know, like any of that. He just very playfully, you know, guided them by playing a little game like that. It's just so it's truly something that's it's what only the master could do. Just incredible.
Yeah. When you love somebody, when you're in love with them, you don't have to sit in any particular posture.
Yeah. Can you imagine that, sitting?
Adrian, you didn't have to go to work and sit in a lotus position and think of her. That's kind of what Baba.
Yeah.
A different kind. I mean, Baba's. People ask, you know, did Baba prescribe meditation? Well, he did. I mean, he said, think of him constantly. I mean, that's a meditation. But it doesn't require a certain asana. I mean, certain position. You know, you can go about.
Can you imagine? I mean, I'm sure Quentin Todd looked back, and I found out, and I read that he had left Baba because of two particular situations. One being the time where he told Baba, "Oh, just 1 minute, Baba. The water's just getting hot." And Baba had given him an instruction to tell someone something.
Yeah.
And then the second time was with the birds, I believe.
Yeah.
Or no.
Yeah,
Yes.
the birds.
Yeah, the birds. And then he sort of left Baba, and then the war happened. And then I read that he had come back to Baba towards the end of his life, but he had died of malnutrition from the war.
Yeah.
But that's just incredible. I mean, but the fact that he's sitting in a lotus meditation, away, just looking away from the avatar, who's like in a balcony behind you, can you just like, just not. I'm sure he reflected on that.
Yeah.
The time he could have spent every moment.
I mean, these are all sorts of spiritual notions that that overtake love somehow.
Just incredible.
Yeah. So Ganesh, what do you think? You think we should close the tavern?
No.
He said no. You have anything else to share, Jeff?
Well, I mean, if it comes up, I mean, a lot of these things, I mean, I was there, heard thousands and thousands of hours of Mandali times, but I don't necessarily remember it until someone mentions something, and then it comes back to me. What they
it's locked in hidden gems.
But we have talked about this, and I ponder this. Why don't we feel Baba right with us? Why don't we know that Baba is right with us? And it's because we buy into a lot of ideas, notions, like, oh, well, I should, my behavior should be up to a certain level, and then I can feel comfortable about Baba being right with me. Or I'm the human and he's divine. You can't quite believe that he's right with you, right along with you. I mean, there are a lot of things, things that we buy into that create this distance, and they have to be dismantled. I didn't obey Baba, so Baba's now 20 feet away from me, or he's gone in another room, and I'm over here, in my disobedience. There. I mean, I don't. I mean. I'm not in the right frame of mind to think of Baba now, or there's a knowing that's different from the feeling, a knowing that Baba is there with you. But like I say, even that gets attacked by the mind that comes in and will say, who you fooling? Who you fooling? I mean, there are all sorts of notions that we have that keep us from knowing that Baba is right here. He loves and accepts us completely. That's the truth. Now, how does all this other stuff get in there that create the separateness, that causes us actually to turn the binoculars around the other way? So Baba's way over there instead of up front and intimate. That's I think, really worth pondering. What in myself what in myself creates the illusion that Baba is at some distance, or he's not around, or he's not quite happy with me, or I'm too far in my ego for him to be there. It's very interesting to investigate these things that create the illusion that Baba is not look, is not here looking over our shoulder all the time.
Well, I think that there's something about when you're saying that, it's like there's moments in my mind where I just purely, and it seems totally, not remembering him. So then the notion of even getting to the place of Baba doesn't, I feel like Baba's so distant from me, or I feel like Baba, I haven't even, I lose the connection in my mind so thoroughly that to not think of him at all, then I'm sort of lost in the forest of the marketplace, of all the things that I think are real. That I think that's, for me, that's what gets me in trouble, because whenever I lose that, I think I lose it, but there's obviously the next moment where he comes in, and but that span of time where he's not, I'm not even conscious of thinking of Baba is very painful. I've been seeing that. It brings up all the ways of, there really is a way of when I'm thinking of Baba and I'm holding on to him, even sort of, it's almost like I don't necessarily do the thing where I say Baba's name in my heart, but there's this way of where I can feel his rhythm, or that I'm tuning into his rhythm. And I made sort of such an effort there's a certain way of efforting that does make a difference for me, where his rhythm will be with me, and then if I kind of let off on the gas, and I just think that that's going to carry me for the next week, it doesn't happen. I wake up and, like I said, a thought will come in, and then I'll spend a whole day or something where oh man, I just didn't even think of Baba until 4 o'clock now. It's like, geez Louise, like, man, my mind is, that time frame, like I said, is just is the part that's troubling for me.
Yeah.
No. But I think,
sorry, Prakash.
No, Ganesh. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ganesh. Yeah.
No, I think like certain times what happens is that there's a block of sanskaras that's coming to the surface. You are aware of it. You just want to get rid of it, and that's like it's just troubling you at a surface. It comes to the surface and it's troubling you. You know it. It's like somebody might have irritated you, and it's just that you want to respond or just quiet, or that block keeps. I'm just giving a hypothetical example, or there is some work to be done, and like I need to like check out on this thing or buy this thing, and that's continuously playing in your mind. Okay, and that block has actually troubles you a lot, and you really have to work on it, and we all have our ways, but that actually troubles us between us and Baba. That's what I've seen. And it doesn't get you, it doesn't put you in a state of like where you're like in your tranquil state remembering Baba, and you really have to work on the block, and certain times you just even don't know how to work on it. That happens. That's been my experience, which I've seen between me and Baba, and certain things keep surfacing. That does happen.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there's a knowing that Baba is there, that can still exist, even though you're off in your head somewhere. I mean, that knowing that you can derive great, even great comfort, but a knowing that keeps you always touching base with him. But if you require a feeling, that the feelings come and go. You may feel Baba, you may not feel Baba, but the knowing that he is there, I find is the best thing I got going.
And that's what I mean. There's a severance sometimes in the days. There's that severance of even that knowing. Yeah, and so that's what troubles me. Where I mean, obviously, I come back. He comes back. I feel him, obviously, or I not feel him, but I recognize that in a later moment. But there's those spans where that knowing is gone, and that's trouble. That's pretty troublesome for me.
But you're kind of framing it like Baba comes and goes, rather than you come and go. and he
Right.
stays put.
Right.
Well, I think,
yeah.
But yeah, Prakash.
yeah, no, I want to just throw it out and see what you guys think. But I think, remember, Baba always mentions this push and pull thing that goes on, perhaps over larger time scales, or even that I think can happen even in the smaller time frames that in our daily life. And you just get away, and then suddenly the drive increases to remember him more. So I guess this game of push and pull is probably happening on a regular basis to everybody. At least that awareness to remember him will come whenever there is a pull. When there is a push, you just go away. I mean, all the samskaras and all that stuff, they play their game, and then suddenly you realize, oh God, and, you get back. That game, I think, in my mind at least, I don't know, but it perhaps goes on.
So we're Baba's yo-yos.
Yeah.
Push and pull. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Because go ahead.
That Baba, we're the ones that come and go, and Baba always stays put. We're not. I mean, that is a place within us. And you can see your emotions go way over there, or your thoughts go way over there. And it seems like, you know how it is. Have you ever been on like a train, in a train station, and there's another train that's next to you? And that train starts up, but it gives you the illusion that your train is the one that's moving. Have you ever had that?
Definitely.
Ganesh, have you ever had that?
Yes, many times.
Yeah. Well, it's like we think that Baba's moving,
right,
and we're stopped, but it's actually Baba stopped and we're moving. In other words, it's kind of an optical
illusion.
Optical illusion that we're going. But like I say, these things are. I would say the knowing is unassailable, and it is there. If you buy too much into the feeling, then you'll miss the knowing.
Exactly. That I totally agree.
What's that?
Yeah. That's a great thing. I mean, there is, as I kept saying earlier also, there is a strong tendency for, at least I used to have that feeling, that you associate Baba's presence with some emotion or some feeling, and boom, you lost it right there. Because these moments are so few in your life, and they don't happen all that often. And then suddenly that knowing part gets missed in the process.
Yeah. Barbara said to Arnavas, I didn't ask you to feel me, I asked you to love me. I mean, that's a slightly different way of looking at it, but I didn't ask you to feel me. I asked you to love me.
Well, even that can be questioned. Like, well, then how does one love? And then all that. I remember he said something to someone of like, well, how do you love your wife? And he's like, well, I don't know, I just love her. It's like, well, it's the same way. You just love me.
What I say though is love is really at the heart of us.
Yeah.
And like I say, you could be in a very bad mood, horrible mood, and someone calls up and needs a ride to the hospital. That mood you can throw off in an instant. The love is not. The love is there. I mean, even if you know that you are dedicated to the spiritual well-being of others, you will try your best for the spiritual well-being of others. That is love. If you know that in yourself, that you'll try to give them the best of yourself, not that you help them move their piano and help them move into a new house, but that you are dedicated to their life. They're moving closer to the divine. If you know that that's how you view people, then you have that abiding love in yourself, even if you can't feel it all the time. You know potentially you're there. You're ready to make sacrifices for the spiritual well-being of others.
So Jeff, would you say that this just came to me? Would you say that making that mental, I mean, there's a lot of thoughts here. So making that mental connection with Baba in your daily life has definitely some, I think there's a part of me that really has a hard time sort of like not the word believing, but sort of like there's some part of me that's just really arrogant and very hard-headed and just like, Baba, no, I'll take care of it from here. I got this part of my life. I'm gonna do it. I gotta do my taxes, or I gotta talk to this person. I got it, Baba. Please, just 1 second. I do the Quentin Todd or whatever that is. Like just the tea is almost hot. Just hold on a second. Like, and I don't soften, and then that seems to get me wrapped up in the thing of like of forgetting certain perspectives, certain spiritual perspectives that really actually when I make an effort to remember and connect with Baba and remember those, like what you're saying, these little instances of planting those seeds in my mind, if I don't do that, I really do see the structure of my mind start to fall apart and disintegrate into just more grumpiness, more negativity, more complaining, all the things where I start to really believe my circumstances, that I can change them and that I'm going to change with the circumstances, and it's because of that circumstance that this thing's happening. And I don't know where Bob is in all this, but I can't feel you and I don't see you and I don't remember you, so I'm going to just roll my sleeves up and try to figure this out. And that thing, that whatever that is, I mean, it happens in an instant, and it just brings up so much resentment, I think, even towards God, towards Baba, towards like, why can't it be just this other way? Or why is it got to be this person at 8 in the morning screaming in my ear about like or what does it got to be, just even the subtle things, even like, can't I just have coffee today? No, I can't, because I know it's gonna, just all these things I can't have my way. And I think obviously Bob is just sort of like pulverizing that out of me, and I'm just really, if I don't remember him, then I get very resentful and just, I don't know, not flexible. I know you used it one time, Jeff, the word flexible or something about that, instead of being rigid.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of confidence that, am I really a loving person? Am I really here loving, trying to love this world for Baba? If you become convinced of that, and it's not on, then you can relax some level, and you can handle all of your shortcomings and hassles and thoughts and everything. Are you, I mean, I'm just saying that this kind of way I look at it. Am I willing to, am I willing to love for Baba's sake this universe and all that's in it, and care about it for his sake?
Alan, I have a similar kind of reaction, and actually, it's about the Zoom and Arti. When I first started with this, I thought it was absolutely nuts to spend this kind of time on Zoom when there's life's demands. and I still struggle with it, but more and more, I call it priorities. I would call it what, and there's, and almost every case, this, what's going on at Zoom is just has a higher priority. And it works out. It does seem to work out. You can't just leave it all to, you have to take care of business. But it's been a real struggle for me to spend this much time with Baba.
No, it is.
Sometimes you get zoomed out and also baba'd out, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's so darn good. Every time I, turn it on, it's so worthwhile. My goodness, it's just getting so good. The quality of what's transpiring here is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are. What Ganesh? What are you thinking there? Oh, Prakash.
Sorry, I was like 2 minutes away. Like I was just had some messages. I was replying to it, so I didn't listen to when I lost few minutes of the conversation.
Oh my God! And we're not going to remember.
Case in point.
Oh, you missed that. Yeah, that's too bad. It could have changed your life, but. No, but what I mean is that I just feel we could be much more confident in the love that we have with Baba and for others. We have a lot more than our mind will give us credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the mind because the mind comes along with the ego and says, "Oh, who are you fooling?" I mean, it's clear that you're a total fake and phony. I mean, really. And that's his job. It is so powerful. It can come in and sabotage your joy, sabotage your self-confidence.
Just on this one thing, when I see my people at work, like in Mehrabad, when I'm there, it's so easy to connect to people with heart and they are loving Baba, the common thread and everything. But at work, what happens? These people are so strong-headed and highly like in their race, and the entire consciousness is on their head here. And it gets really hard to connect to them at a very like a heart level or something. And it's like, it just gets difficult over there, like especially in the corporate world. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
I know. And it gets difficult to work on these things over there. And when I try to experiment, it's like it gets really hard to like, how do I work it out? Because those people just connect to you at a mind level, and that's and it's all the game and competition, everything going on there. So and people are all restless and running and everything, and
yeah,
nobody wants to be in a position.
An espresso coffee maker in there with a frother. They can have cappuccinos because you may not be able to meet them on any other way. No, yeah. Sometimes you just have to meet them not on your terms. Find out if you can connect with where their heart is. But I find a lot of people that have an attitude. It's like a wall, and they're not even any loose bricks that you can kind of try to get through the wall. I mean, there are a lot of people that just have an attitude, just like, oh, that person's black. Oh, well, I don't care about that person. You can't get much give and take of love going. But I feel, my feeling is that I'm here for the give and take of love. If this person at this point is not into it, I'll move on to the next person.
You don't have a choice. You have to work with those people.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to work with those people. You just it's like you don't have a choice, and you work with those people for years, and like spend some time, like maybe years.
A lot of workplaces, I might find the same thing that if I were in your position, I might find the same thing. Go in there, do the work, kind of a superficial kind of connection with this one or that one, a little, but not. It really can't go anywhere because there isn't. There's got to at least be some interest, personal interest, and very often it's just not there. I mean, that can happen in the Baba world where certain people just have no interest in you, and you can't get anything going. They've got certain attitude, and so it's not just people at your workplace, but even fellow Baba people sometimes. And,
But all those people are actually helping us perhaps to learn more patience, to develop more patience. Because I suddenly remembered a story. There is this guy who wants to, learn more about being more connected to God and everything.
More what?
Connected to his being. I mean, the reality. And then so he just goes around in search of somebody who can help him get to that stage of knowing. And so some people advise him, say that, okay, look, there is one particular saintly person out there. And if you go to him, perhaps he'll have an answer to your question regarding, knowing about God and then becoming one. And so he goes in search of this person, and then he goes around and finally finds him. And he's a sheikh in somewhere in Arabia. So he asks him, so I'm here to know more about how to realize myself, my real self. So he says, that's great. So let me do one thing. Why not we go to my place, and then you can then sort of, we can talk about it. So he takes him to his place, and then as he goes, there are lots of kids playing with, playing the little games and all. The sheikh also plays with him and stuff like that. And finally, they end up at their place. The moment he goes to their home, there's this constant screaming by his wife saying that, oh, you always go around, teach people this and that, but you don't do anything at home. And a barrage of, screaming that happens. And so the guy who is planning to learn about, God and everything, he's just watching the wife scream at this particular saintly person constantly. And after the whole thing settles down a bit, he says, how can she say all this to you? You're such a divine person. And then the sheikh simply says, she is my patience. So, so that reminded me of the problems in the corporate world and this thing. I mean, all that is there perhaps to make you learn, to make you learn more patience, I guess. I've gone through this, and it's the same story everywhere.
Yeah, it's very hard when you're in a situation like you are, Ganesh, where it's not very personal. It's so impersonal that it's hard to get anything going. And yet you'd like to have kind of a personal relationship with the people that you work with and that you work with year in and year out. But the corporate world and the mentality and everything, people are just up in their heads. It's hard to get anything going, I would imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like you're impossible person to be around. You know what I mean? You're just a second. I gotta.
Yeah, Ganesh, I find that when there's a lot of impersonal communication or like when we have to have group meetings or something, company meetings, because I work at a real estate agency. So when we have to have weekly meetings and then I'm sitting in there and everybody's sharing and it's just sort of like the same role, thing again and again. Let's talk about how this person did a great job, and actually, and Alan, maybe you could work on this, and it's just like this whole, and we're making this money, and we really need to make more money, so everybody needs to work harder. and it's just all this stuff, but like, good job, but like, do better, you know. And it's just, for me, I never thought I would find myself in this kind of corporate world. I really never thought that my personality growing up, all the things I've been through, that I would come here, be here now. And so that is almost like those meetings are what teach me about patience, because I just get so frustrated that I find that I'm thinking out loud. I'm like thinking in my mind, I mean, to Baba, like, why can't this is the place where I have the least patience and the least level of being cheerful or being enthusiastic or being loving to anybody. And my face just looks stone cold in those meetings. Like, I just look dead quiet, and I'm just almost frowning, you know. And I see myself because we're on Zoom, and you know, other people are like, yeah, and you know, and I had coffee today, and it's like, you know, it's really great. And I was just like, I just get so frustrated with the small talk, and I'm sitting there looking stone cold, and I'm like, wow, is this really what you want me to look like? Well, you know, I thought I'm supposed to be. This is not, you know, this is not how I like to be. So, anyways, I just thought I would share that because it's very hard for me.
Because I could easily connect to what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's almost like it just came into my vision, like what you are saying. I could visualize that meeting and how it's going on, because same happens everywhere, and it happens here with where I work too. So it's a lot of times it's just everything over here, and they're talking over here. The heart is closed, and you just sense it. You sense the dryness and everything, and you can't do anything much about it, and you have to be there. And wearing the same hat.
I mean, you guys could compare notes for.
All right, I'll see you guys. Jai Baba.
Yeah, see you, Prakash.
See you later, Prakash.
Yeah, it's just.
Same here, Baba Prakash.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba Prakash.
Jai Baba, everybody.
Good night to you.
Yeah, no, it's just. I mean, I think this is why Baba came as a person, because the world is becoming so impersonal. He's brought personal love back into the world. I mean, it'll catch on, but it is so impersonal that you have to cherry pick beautiful moments in a rather uninspired landscape, you know.
In my working experience, it's like you have to pay your dues, and with crummy jobs at first, but eventually you find, it certainly was, and I can only speak from my own experience, eventually the good job will come. Eventually the people, and that's totally a gift from Baba. It has nothing to do with with merit or something, but it just seems like you have to slog through.
I mean,
crummy jobs.
Ganesh is 68. When is this going to happen?
Can it really? Oh.
Did you say 68?
No, I'm just joking.
What about you, Jeff? What about your working life? What about your working life?
My life is, I work here at the center, so
yeah,
I'm really very fortunate. But when I was here, before I started working at the center, I was scooping ice cream at a place on Highway 17 here. And I thought, wow, did I come, I mean, I went to get all this college education and everything, and I could have been doing this in junior high. I'm just scooping. I mean, but you know what I decided finally? I decided I am going to scoop this ice cream for Baba. I'm going to do it for him.
Wow.
I'm going to do all this for him. And because prior to that, I would work a job. I'd be at a job and I'm thinking, well, I'm just here temporarily, but where I want to go is over there. You know, so I'm just, you know, and then I go over there, I get another job, and I never turned my wholeheartedness on the stupid jobs that I wound up working at. You know, and it was when I decided to do this stupid thing wholeheartedly that Baba gradually, through one job or another, led me to the center. But prior to that, I was saying, well, what am I doing this stuff for?
Right. You mentioned that before, wholeheartedly makes a difference.
And the wholeheartedness led to a place that reflected by the expression of love better. And then I got another job was a more beautiful expression, a vehicle, vehicle for expressing my love, until eventually I landed at the center.
So everything led to you working at the center pretty much.
Yeah, but I don't know if I was caught up like Ganesh in a corporate situation. God, I mean, that is very difficult.
Yeah.
How to do that wholeheartedly. I mean, you have to do it wholeheartedly, but how to do it wholeheartedly when there's so little receptivity for the love that you're putting into it.
Do you work in tech, Ganesh?
Yes, IT.
IT, yeah.
Yeah, full time.
But Jeff,
yeah,
you know, when you said, that this world today is so impersonal, and that's very true. And there's a lot of dissatisfaction, especially among the younger generation. And I find, I've noticed that a lot of them are searching for some sort of a meaning, and they're turning to a lot of these different spiritual, what do you call them?
Yeah.
Ways and means, like going through, trying to find their guru and trying to find their meaning in life and stuff like that. Different paths, whatever they are. And I guess sooner or later, there will be a great awakening, because this can't go on forever. People are really getting dissatisfied with the way the world is going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I notice in India that the young people, the young adults, have a longing for something, for the divine, for something deeper. In America, I don't think that's that same thing. I think there's a certain kind of widespread aimlessness. You get a job, you kind of, you get an apartment, and you kind of decorate it, and you go hang out with some people, go to the local bar or whatever. Right now, I'm just talking about historically right now, it doesn't seem like there is much of a spiritual search going on among young people. There's a lot of it.
Right.
A lot of it, but
exactly.
Not as a culture, but I have felt in India there's a bit of a culture that wasn't there before among young people that's now springing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think
it's a kind of an awakening.
Yeah.
A gradual awakening.
Yeah.
And if you see in Mehrabad, a lot of young people come who have just heard about Baba. They're not necessarily from this old families. So that is happening. I see a lot of young Indians who come. So that's been happening. Like at Mehrabad, you can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind
of. And a lot of these people are being taken advantage of because there's so many of these so-called, excuse my saying so, but fake gurus that have come up, and they're entrapping these people, and all kinds of things are happening, and it's sad. But then I guess people have to go through that to realize the truth.
Yeah, and I think they might be a little less able to be duped because of modern education and everything They're not like simple villages that are getting duped by some phony guru.
Okay, here is one thing that in the Baba, this thing it is said, I think in Baba words somewhere it said, I just recall, I'm not sure where exactly, but what I understand is that a person who follows a fake guru wholeheartedly, when he does that, the guru obviously takes over all the sanskaras of that master. The guru of the disciple, sorry, the master would take away the sanskaras of all the disciple because of his faith in the master. Now, what happens when the disciple realizes that his master was fake? What happens in that moment? Does he take back all the sanskaras which he had given to his master, or what really happens in that moment?
Well, I mean, there's a disillusionment that can affect their search for a while, but I think that they will go on and try to find something more authentic. I think people are somewhat protected from that if they don't get part of the hierarchy of that guru. That's where you can get stuck. You're the assistant to the guru or something. You're the secretary of the guru. Those are harder to see that it's not good for you. You're part of the action.
Ganesh, are you talking about
suffer most?
Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying, Jeff? Sorry.
No, I was just saying that the people that are around the fake guru, who are so-called part of the action, the in crowd, I think they can suffer more than kind of innocent people that follow these people. They haven't got a role, they're a follower, but they're not trapped in these roles. I think they'll come out all right. But those who are kind of get in on the inner circle of these gurus have a hard time breaking away, I would say. I mean, what do I know? I see it.
Yeah.
I see it happen in organizations where people stay in an organization long after they should have gotten out much earlier. But there was just something there. There's certain kind of power and control and importance that they have to give up. Ganesh, have you asked Baba, said to Baba, do you want me to still stay at this place? Is there another place out there that you'd like, that would be resonate more with me? You ever kind of put that out to him?
Yes,
in other words, it'd be very hard to.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I do tell Baba everything about what is happening or this thing.
Yeah.
So in my conversation, because it helps me to introspect, and it also helps me to connect to Baba. So not exactly the sentence that you put. It's a good thought to share with Baba. So,
yeah. But I mean, even like I say, being open, Baba, if you want me, if there's a place that would resonate more with my heart and my love for you, open that up to him, and maybe there's another place that's got a little bit more heart and love in it, where you could make the switch, but once you've kind of guaranteed to work in another place, pull out from a place where there's just not much happening. You say it's dry or impersonal. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like we can share with Baba. So I do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks. That thought really helps to share with Baba.
But yeah, even thinking about the whole job itself, whether he mentioned to me to, there's another place in Pune.
It's not particularly about the job or situation, I can tell you. It's the whole industry that is that way. That's the way it's molded. Like even if either it's in India or US, or the way people work in the corporate world, it's become such a dry places. I can't that's the overall situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
But yeah, what I say is that we can always ask for Baba for a better and warmer place where we can be comfortably in.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fine to do something like that, I would say. I think like Alan, like a kind of a manager of a Taco Bell would be.
That's
no,
the
really,
ideal.
I can see you there.
That's the ideal. The ideal place. Yeah.
You going to head? I better go too, because it's after.
It's pretty late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. I don't. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Jeff, for your time, and everybody.
Thank you.
So Jeff, I'm going to join in because we have this effort and grace session of Karen. So that overlaps with this time. So tomorrow I may not be in.
Yeah.
If Friday night you are there, then again we catch up on Friday night your time.
On Friday night, yeah.
Yes. So
see you guys.
Tomorrow we just.
Thank you.
Jai
Good
Mer
night.
Baba. Jai Mer Baba. Jeff. Jai Mer Baba. See you tomorrow morning for this your experiences with Adi.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Jai Mer Baba. Jai
Thank
Mer
you.
Baba.
Love you
Good
all.
night.
Jai Baba.